Nothing just released their Headphone Pros, and these are crazy. These headphones right here can last for 100 hours. They have LDEC and high-res certification, 40mm drivers. These have a 100-hour battery life, which is absolutely insane, and that's with fast charging as well, so that you can charge these super fast. And these can easily compete with the titans of competition that are already in the space, because these actually have adaptive ANC, spatial sound, and personalized sound, as well as something that I think more headphones need to have, which is removable ear cups, so that when these wear out, you can just grab new ones of these and you don't have to get a whole new device. The ear cups on these feel like a type of memory foam, but the back of these are like a shiny plastic, which is really nice for weight because they're not super heavy like these ones, but they don't necessarily feel as durable as my favorite ANC Bluetooth headphones. But the fact that the headphone band is nice and plush and these extension arms are actually made of metal, I'm not actually concerned about the build quality on these at all. They're nice and light, and when you put them on their head, they create a good seal around your ear completely. Like, I'm probably already speaking louder because even without the noise cancellation turned on, they're cutting out a lot of the background noise. But then we can connect them to the app right here, and you can see that we can have noise cancellation in low, medium, high, or even adaptive, which is really nice. They also have transparency mode, which once I turn this on, and it doesn't sound like I'm really wearing headphones, which on these, which are way more expensive, it kind of sounds like I'm talking through a phone. And on these, which again have been the king of ANC for me, it's very similar to the sound that these give me. Now, I'm not someone who's a huge fan of spatial audio, but if you are, there's concert mode, cinema mode, and I'm going to turn it to off for me. And then you also have this option for personal sound profile. This actually adapts the earphones to your hearing to try to give you a better experience. There's a built-in simple equalizer where you can choose 5 different options, or you can go to custom and dial it in yourself. I don't really love this way of doing things. I wish there was just a parametric EQ, but I could see this being really immersive and easy to use for a lot of beginners. And there's also a low lag mode, which is actually made for gaming, which I want to test and see what kind of latency we can actually get on these. But if you were going to use these for gaming, they actually come with a 3.5mm cable, so I would always use this because you're always going to get lower latency through a wire instead of through Bluetooth. But if you run it through this wire, then you're missing out on a lot of the features that the headphones are going to give you through Bluetooth, like a lot of that ANC and immersive modes. They also have dual connection, which is really nice, so you can connect them to multiple devices if you would like. And they even include Find My, which is really, really nice, and I think every headphone should have that. But now let's actually listen to some music and hear what it sounds like. I need to preface this by saying I'm kind of an audio snob. I was an audio engineer professionally for 10 years, and I typically go for a more balanced sound profile, where I know a lot of people in the general public really like to have amplified bass, and I'm fine with there being extra bass as long as it's managed well and it doesn't come across really muddy and flubby. The thing I'm going to be comparing them to mentally is my king of ANC, which is these, and in my opinion, it's going to be very hard to beat these because I use these every single day. But I did also forget to point out that there's actually a bass slider on these. So there's a little slider right here that you can actually just turn up if you want to get more bass or less bass, which normally I would kind of hate on, but I actually think is a really clever way to implement that, because then you can just decide in the moment, instead of needing to open up the app and try to deal with some sort of EQ, you can just boost up the bass if you want to, or turn it down. But let's actually play a song here, and I'm going to tell you what I think of the overall sound profile with it turned all the way down, and then we'll turn it up and I'll tell you what I think.